electrolyzers and all of that. So if you want to go ahead and get started, the 7th grade group will be coming in slightly doing that in lecture.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. All right. So, my name is Shamira, Dr. Shamira, and Mr. Johnson Brown, and I have my PhD, my doctoral degree in environmental chemistry. And I work for FAA headquarters in Washington, D.C. You know, when you take the next one, you get off at the front, you right across, directly across the street. That's right. I'm located. I'm in the airport office, and it's on the 6th floor in our building. And I'm in the office where we have the division. The division I'm in is called the National Planning and Environmental Division, and I'm in ATP 400. It's an environmental code. What we do here, I'll start off what we do with my position details. And what I do is I review environmental impact statements, which is like a report. And it used to be like, maybe this big, but they streamlined it, and it's only about maybe 50 to 70 pages now. You don't want to read a book of environmental impact statement. You want to read something that's to the point, and whatever we need to resolve or whatever we need to comment on, that's just, not a book.
I just want to jump in real quick to make sure they know. When she says environmental impact statement, she means if we're going to build an airport,
yes,
how's that going to impact the environment? So people, biologists and stuff will write their report, and that's what we need.
Yes. And the people who write the report are the consultants. You have different companies. Different companies. You have
Booz Allen Hamilton.
There you go. Booz Allen Hamilton is a consulting company that we work with. And what we do is when we start up a project, an airport project, the airport sponsor is the one that contacts us and would like to start a project. And the airport sponsor is the person who owns the airport. Like we have Stafford Airport, and the person who's the airport sponsor owns the airport. And let's just say, for an example, if the airport sponsor at Stafford Airport would like to expand the airport, they let the regional office know, which is at the Dulles Airport. We're in the eastern region, Virginia. Our area here is the eastern region office. We have 9 regions. In our area, they report to the Dulles regional office. There's a Dulles Airport. And on the Dulles Airport, they have different offices. And the regional offices where they report, and then comes to headquarters. So we have a regional environmental specialist who we work on reviewing the environmental impact statement. And when it comes to me, I review either the wetlands or the endangered species if there are any by the airport. And I also look at other environmental consequences that have to do with either land. And they sometimes noise to a certain extent, because I'm not a noise expert. And we attend public meetings. How many of you are familiar with public meetings? Are you familiar with public meetings? Oh, great. Well, yeah, I figured someone would be. Well, they advertise it in the newspaper or on the internet to let everyone know there's going to be a public meeting for environmental impact statement for airports. Or it can be an environmental assessment, which is a shorter report, and they just strictly talk about the environmental effects that we'll have on the airport. Like it could be wetlands, like your teacher explained you about the wetlands. Like for instance, we have a project at Stafford Airport, and we want to extend the runway at Stafford Airport, and we want to close in some wetlands if it's near the airport. If they want to extend the runway, what they'll do, they'll close in the wetlands so they can construct it and make it into a runway. Get the concept?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you determine when to move forward with the project when you have a situation where you might have to develop on wetlands?
Yes, that should be done. challenging one, because we also deal with litigation too. And so we also work, when we work with the consultants and the airport sponsors, we also work with our environmental attorneys too. And sometimes they, make the final decision on if we can move forward.
Mitigation means, figuring out how to implement.
Yes.
So let's say they're gonna build over one part of the wetland, they might build, a screen space somewhere else, so they'll add some additional trees to plant to try to soak up any of those trees.
That's right. And so when we do have our public meetings, they can be challenging at times with the public, when people come out to the public meetings to see what the project is about, because that's the only way they'll know. They can just come and see for themselves, and they, they either support it or they don't. But we're there to answer any questions they may have, or if they want to express their opinion about it. We're there to be there to hear them, to be the listening ear, and to be someone they can talk to and make sure that we answer the questions appropriately. And we also work with federally recognized tribes, depending on if the airport expansion is on their tribal land. Okay. Well, and when we have to work with the Indian tribes, we also work with the Office of Historic Preservation, which is another federal agency that we work with along with our team when we are doing our projects. And sometimes that can be another challenge, working with them, because we have to treat the federally recognized tribes as another federal agency, because they're a federal agency like ourselves, because they're federally recognized. And so our management team in our office usually work with the chief. And so if I get a chance to meet the tribe, then I usually don't get a chance to meet with the chief. I can communicate with the other tribal associates in the tribe and talk to them. And when we deal with the special cases, we have to work with the tribe. There are certain days that we're going to have to visit them, because they have certain days where they have the traditional customs, where they have to, how they have traditional customs, everyone has traditions depending on what their heritage is. So we have to be careful with that. We have to make sure we work on their schedule. But it's nice to live, and that's one of the interesting part of my job. I get a chance to meet certain Native American tribes, and we get a chance to see what their reaction is to a project that they like it or not, and see what the chief thinks.
What tribes do you work with specifically in the Stafford area? I'm not even sure.
I know I haven't got a chance to work with tribe of Stafford. Okay. Because I still want to look them up and see, just in case if I have to.
So you work with them more in the D.C. area? Or?
Well, actually, out of town,
oh, okay.
If I have to go somewhere, maybe in Texas, or if I have to go to the
oh, wow.
Because we
okay.
travel a lot.
Okay, so what are some of the tribes that you have worked with?
Well, I've reviewed some of the work. I didn't get a chance to meet the tribe. But there was a project in New Mexico called Power, and I got a chance to review the project, because it took 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So when I came on board, we were still in the process of, that was one of the difficult ones for another environmental person that had to deal with it before I came on board. But I just got a chance to review it and everything, and they were having a hard time with the tribe, because the tribe wasn't really sure if they wanted to use the airport or the runway, because, they wanted to preserve their land. And they had to work with historic preservation back and forth. It was a struggle, so they finally came to an agreement with their project back in 2012. For the project, and so it's in Taos, New Mexico. So you can look it up.
Okay.
So they're in the National Heritage Site. They're the oldest tribe. They've been there since the 15th century. Yeah.
So she's talking about the historic preservation. You know how Government Island, if you go there, that big sign? And when you first get there, it explains how at one time they were thinking of developing on that, but there was a group that worked closely with the heritage preservation to preserve that area. So now nobody can develop on that. So that's the word to me. The British goes around and people don't develop on land that has historical features.
Yeah, and And that's one of the reasons why sometimes when we start a project, we may not be able to finish it, or we may have to stop because we can't, work on preserved land because of that. And sometimes we go through with those projects if it's not affected by any preserved land, so we have to be very careful that we have a different lot of, federal regulations that prevent us from doing so. But when I look at when I review my EISs, I usually look at, the wetlands, and if there are any like toxic chemicals around the project, I make sure I'm very careful with that. And like endangered species, like for instance, the endangered species that, because I know of that were affected by airport projects, it was like a, what they call like a sage grouse. It looks like a,
Grass is like a type of bird.